Peace, baby.
The Art of Relationships radio show is copyrighted. No one is to use any part of the show without express written consent from myself, Greg Dzinski, or the Art of Relationships. Thank you.
Licensed relationship and sex counselor Greg Dzinski, also known as Master G. The Art of Relationships will cover crucial elements in rebuilding emotional and physical intimacy in your romantic relationships. He will also welcome live calls from listeners and help him with these very challenges. Heard of the old repetitive and tiresome tit-for-tat arguments? Greg gets to the root of couples' challenges in a quick, matter-of-fact format, plus applies compassion and humor. Join in discovering how to improve your romantic relationship and your own life. Listen, laugh, and climax to a happier you. Greg is a licensed professional counselor in the state of Michigan, but to some of us, he is simply known as Master G.
Hey, welcome everybody. It's Greg Dzinski, Detroit's Love Guru, and we are live from Detroit, or actually I'm live from Detroit. You could be all over the place. Welcome. This is the Art of Relationships radio show, weekly, every Wednesday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Yeah, we switch the clocks back because we're forced to, right? Check out my website, theartofrelationships.org, and you can also give me a call live with your questions you have. Doesn't have to do with the topic of the show for this evening. Give me a call, 313-614-9498. It is also at the top, or I should say the top maybe, of the video that's playing now, the live streaming that we have going on. So join the discussion below. Ask your questions. It doesn't have to deal with the topic, and you can be anonymous. You're going to hear some names I mention throughout the show that, ask questions on the discussion board. They have given me permission to use their names, a long time ago. So if you don't want your name mentioned, that's okay. I'm not going to mention your name unless you give me permission, okay? It's been a long day in here. I need everybody to try to shake me up a little bit, and I want to have a little fun this evening. And what's going to happen is we are going to shake it up a little bit. Ooh, and we're going to get into gender issues, and I want to get into reality versus fantasy, and how many women have their vision of this Superman hero that they want as a partner, as a husband, lifelong partner, whatever. And if you get that person, that man, how many people actually are ticked off? You want him strong. You want him brave. You want him speaking his own mind. You want him maybe being independent, right? And once you get that man, you're ticked off because he can't be molded. He can't be bent to suit your needs, whatever. And you got that little maybe tit for tat. You got that clash going on because he doesn't fit your expectations. You know what? You want him, you're desired, you got that sexual attention going back and forth, but when he remains independent, speaks his mind, doesn't kiss your ass all the time, oh my God, there's issues. So we're going to talk about that. Also, again, give me a call, 313-614-9498. And I would love to hear your questions, everything else below. So hit me up, please. Let me know what's going on. And I'm going to read off a long-winded, if you want to say a post, if you will. And I want to hear, or see your comments on this. If you agree with them, if you don't agree with them, I want to hear your comments. I want to see what your thoughts are. I want to shake it up, and I'm doing this to stir the pot a little bit, and I'm going to be ticking some people off. I'm okay with that, right? I want to force people to think differently. I want you to think outside the normal societal norms, what your gender expectations are as a woman, as a man. So I'm going to read this long-winded thing. Hey, Missy, welcome. Make sure you share the video. Have your friends, join in. I want to hear, I want to see everybody join in tonight. And so I'm going to go in to read this long-winded piece, if you will. And I want to see what your thoughts are on this, if you agree with it, or maybe, you know what, does it tick you off? Does it piss you off a little bit? And we'll go from there. And then hopefully we'll get some callers and some more comments going on the discussion going on. So I'm going to get right into this, okay? This is a post. I'm not going to tell you if it was a man that wrote this, a woman that wrote this until the end. I'm going to have you guessing, okay? So, why a free man is the most terrifying thing for a woman. You think about that, right? A lot of women want the guy that's independent, that speaks his own mind, but like I said, we're going to get into it. When you have that man, he ticks you off, pisses you off, and you just go nuts. But we'll get into that, okay? A free man is the most terrifying thing for a woman. Is this true or not? Because once a man becomes free, he cannot be trained, he cannot be controlled, and he cannot be molded. Ooh. A lot of women want to change men, right? Or is that true? You have this expectation, if he doesn't fit it, we're going to bend him, we're going to, treat him this way, we're going to mold him this way, we're going to do everything we can to break him and make maybe our puppy, our puppet. And if it doesn't happen, oh my God, the shit hits the fan, right? So, going to go in on this, okay? He cannot be manipulated into what you want him to be, okay? So, you complain that your man isn't strong enough, doesn't F you hard enough, well enough, or frequent enough, okay? Isn't strong or passionate or exciting or masculine enough. You say you want a king who's established and mature. Is that true? But what aren't you getting is the very thing, what you aren't getting is the very thing that would make this man all of that and more, all of the above or more, okay? So what happens, right? Is also the very thing that when it truly shows up will threaten to completely destroy all of your Disney princess fantasies and Christian condition matrimonies that are keeping it alive, okay? Is that true? That once you get this man, all your Disney princess fantasies are going to be shattered. Oh, I want this independent man, but once you get him, you know what? What's going to happen? He's not kissing your butt. He's not telling you what you want to hear all the time. He's being real. He's being genuine. He's being blunt with you. Ooh, that's going to trigger some nerves, and it's going to trigger some insecurities in you. And now you're going to start maybe bashing him, calling him names. He's a jerk. He's an a-hole, whatever. So we're going to go on, okay? And when, all those fantasies get crushed, that becomes very terrifying, okay? A man who isn't dependent on mommy's love, so starving for her nourishment, and so scared of its withdrawing that he will do anything to keep it on tap, which means he is so paranoid to lose you. He's so paranoid, almost overly needy, that he's going to lose you. And let's face it, ladies, when a guy is very needy, right, you lose interest, right? Let's face it, ladies. He is not that attractive to you when he becomes dependent on your love, when he becomes overly needy on you, and he just blows smoke up your butt, or maybe he's afraid to tell you what he honestly feels, that he is ticked by you, that he's upset by you, and he doesn't want to shake the waves because, oh my God, she might leave me. Forget that, right? We all know that what's going to happen is you're going to lose interest, you're going to lose that sexual attention that you crave at the beginning, right? So what's going to happen? It's going to lose. So when you get the man that you think you want, and you can't bend him, he's independent, he's strong, he is not going to bend and plead and kiss your booty all the time. He's going to be real, he's going to be genuine, and that is going to tick you off. Because, let's face it, you're not going to be able to change that strong man, okay? Uh-oh. The broadcast was interrupted. Hopefully, Missy, let me know if it is back, okay? I want to make sure everything's going okay and that everything's going smooth on my end, okay? So let me see. Hopefully everything's going smooth. So we are going back to reading. Okay. A man who isn't dependent, on mommy's love. We already read that, or I already did, right? A man who tentatively puts all his desires and needs aside for yours, the strings of your purse tighten around his balls, right? With every yes dear, I want that. That's pathetic, right? And a lot of women don't want that. We joke around, we talk about that all the time about, you know what? He's got his testicles in his wife's purse or his girlfriend's purse. You know what? That's not really attractive to the woman. She's going to lose interest, okay? A free man's integrity is more important to him than his need for your approval, which is awesome. I love that, okay? He loves you, but loves himself more. That's scary, right? A free man says no when he means no, and yes when he means yes. And in my experience, a lot of women can't handle that. They can't. They think he's mean. They think he's a jerk. No, there's a difference between being mean and being compassionate when you speak your mind, okay? That kind of man is terrifying because it puts us women in a certain kind of position. We are tried and tested that our hooks, right, no longer work, right? Our women try to use their sexuality, right, their passion, their womanhood to try to control the free man, to try to control the independent man. That's why a lot of women end up, with men that might be jerks. And there's a difference between being a jerk and being your own man and being free and being, independent and stand on your own 2 feet. Big time, okay? So your hooks, your manipulation, your games of testing us aren't going to work anymore. And what happens? It causes problems, right? Okay, so no longer can we control with our feminine, emotional, sexual superpowers. Oh my God, I just said that. And tricks that have worked on every other man since we became daddy's little girl, those parts that know precisely all his weak spots and how we trigger, how we manipulate them, they're not working anymore, ladies. So then, you know what? What happens? How many women, I would love to hear this, how many women agree with that? And, let me know. And I want to make sure that live stream is going okay. So, let me know below. Let me know, what's going on. Let me know if the stream and everything is going as fast as you can. Run as... Cynthia, welcome. What do you mean run as fast as you can? If he allows his testicles to be in your purse, Cynthia, let me know if, that's what you want to run or what the deal is. That's why I said I want to stir shit tonight and think of this, who the individual that wrote this is true, they're BS or not. So, that women, use their sexuality to empower themselves. They use their sexuality to, entice and use their power over men to get what they want. We all know, how many women know that this is true? It's been throughout time. There's been a huge, old school sort of joke, but there's truth to it, that a man walks into a bar, right, drops his pants, frickin' everybody will start laughing. But a woman, let's face it, walks into that same bar, lifts up her skirt, she's going to have, what? A lineup of guys waiting for her, right? It's just the reality. The power of the P, right, ladies? But I tell men and I teach men, you need to back that up a little bit and hold on to yourself and don't let that power overwhelm you, that you hold on to your own, that you be your own man, you control your own self and not allow women to control that emotionally. Yes, you can be loving, you can be caring, you can be empathetic and compassionate, but you also can be blunt, you can be honest, and then go from there, right? That doesn't make you a jerk, but a lot of women think if they have this independent free man, I'm going to bend him, I'm going to break him, I'm going to make him my puppet, and it's not going to it's not going to work, okay? So, and then the women get ticked, call the men names and whatever, and you know what? I would love to hear your comments on this. So, excuse me, I'm going to continue. When a man becomes free, no longer can women use him for their own sense of security, safety, and holding on to themselves, right? Suddenly, those things become a woman's own responsibility. Women are pushed into having their own discernment, to walking their own path and finding their own truth and fulfillment within themselves. They're not relying on the man the man is going to make me happy. The man is going to justify me. The man is going to validate that I am a queen. The man is going to validate that I am sexy, that I am whatever, instead of holding on to your own. But if the man holds that power and control, women freak out, right? When they think they can't bend that man, they freak out, they call him names, they call him this, they call him that, and it creates a lot of problems, ladies. And I want to help you tonight on how to handle that, how to work it, that you can allow him to be his own independent man and allow him to love you, right? And it's not a selfish love. Oh, okay. Oh, the feed is very slow. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with the feed. Sorry, Cynthia. Thanks for letting me know, though. I was saying this when you were talking about a man always bending over backwards. Oh, being mama's boy. Okay, I'm sorry. That is pathetic. And, right, it kills the sexual attraction. I don't know, what's going on with, hopefully the feed picks up a little bit more. And I'm not sure what is going on. Hopefully that will change, okay? Hopefully we'll be able to change the feed. Oh, let me try something real quick to see if it will stop. And maybe we can pick up the speed of the stream. That sounded the stream of his ejaculate. But we're not going to, I won't mention that right now, even though I already did. Okay, so when we go back into this element, you know what? Not being in control of men is terrifying for women. It's very terrifying for women, right? That they look of, maybe past times when, let's face it, women did not have that much power and control in our society, right? That's not right. I never agreed with that. I want equality. I'm all about equality on every essence of being true partnerships, okay? I'm not so much, we have these gender issues, these gender roles that, women, I'm going to face it, women tend to pick and choose. You know what? I want the guy to be the provider. I want him to do this. But, oh, my God, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I want the freedom to do this. I want the freedom to do that because it's 2017. Don't pick and choose your gender role scenarios, or that's going to cause problems. Like, it's going to cause a lot of headaches. It's going to cause a lot of stress in your relationship. And what can you do to be an emotional, an equal partner with your man? You know what? Being on an emotional level, a physical level. Ooh, now we get in the nitty gritty. What about the financial and the household duty elements as well? Okay. But don't be fooled into believing we are the weaker sex, meaning the women are the weaker sex. No, not at all. I don't want women to be the sort of the weaker sex. I want equality, as I mentioned before, okay? So I want, because a man or woman, none of us are here to be owned. I'm all about that, okay? We're not to be put on a leash. And I think a lot of women, I get this all the time in my office that, men, there's women too that feel the same. Oh my God, once we got married, once we lived together, I feel like I'm on a leash and they're trying to control me. And it creates this battle back and forth that creates a control essence, if you will, instead of looking at the element to where, you know what, we're equal. We need to be equal. We need to be loving to each other and not be a control freak element, okay? So, which is great, okay? So, because there is a part of all of us that really does enjoy being given everything we want. I think it's human nature. We want what we want, right? We tend to be, is it selfish to be, is it a selfish element that is part of our human element? That, what? Is that possible? Is that true? I think it is to a point, but a lot of aspect we get into, we need to knock that off. We need to, have our needs met, but we also need to make sure our partner's needs are met as well. And we get into the fantasy elements like, this author mentioned about, the Disney princesses. They want the knight in shining armor. They want this. They want all this. And he's going to give me whatever I want. But then, if he does, you're not attracted to him anymore, right? The sexual tension, that element is gone. It's killed if he doesn't stand his own. But when he does, women, you need to wake up a little bit and realize, do you want an independent man that still loves you because he chooses to love you, not because he feels the need or the pathetic aspect that oh my God, I'm going to lose her, whatever. You know what? That sort of kills the sexual passion. It kills the sexual and an emotional desire that you have for one another, okay? And we talk about how many women out there, and the author mentions, that the princess, the brat, the little girl, she doesn't want to hear no ever, right? She wants it her way all the time. But there's a big sacrifice to pay if you let her run the show. That's what I'm talking about, right? And that is the emasculation of your man and the death of your woman. A real man does not get so hard for the little girls, just as we do not get wet, for little boys, right? You want a man, we want a woman. There's a big difference between a girl, right, and a boy versus a man and a woman. Big time, yeah? So, and we receive the love of a free man as the most nourishing, awe-inspiring, powerful, special things you will ever receive, right? Because when he is with you, right, because he chooses to be with you. He is with you because every essence of him loves you. It's not because out of need. It's not because out of desperation. He chooses to be with you. That free man is with you because he loves you. He doesn't love anybody else, and he wants to be with you, but yet be able to speak his mind, to be independent, and an independent person, just like I want women to be an independent woman outside of the relationship, but you still have the element, the importance, the priority of the relationship, if that makes sense, okay? But that's what I want you to realize. I want you to get on and to realize that, okay? But, and all this, what I'm reading, is written by a woman, not a man, okay? A lot of people that read this, and I'll share it, I'll share the whole post tomorrow on the author and everything else, okay? I will share that tomorrow morning so you can read it in its entirety. And it comes from a woman, I think she's in Australia, that wrote this. So it's not all about, it's not a man bashing women at all. It is about women that are able to look at the element that, not the battle of the sexes, but how you work together, and a woman's fantasy and the gender role issues. You know what? A guy's maybe fantasy is he wants sex all the time, whatever. Maybe it's not a fantasy. Maybe that's what men want. But there's women out there that want sex often as well. And you look at it, if you maintain your own identity, it keeps the passion going in your relationship. It keeps the sexual tension going. It keeps the chemistry going. What made you fall in love to begin with, right? It's your own individuality that drew you guys together and sort of made you fall in love, right? It wasn't the bending, the twisting, the molding of each other, but it seems like a lot of women, there are men out there, I'm not going to bash women, a lot of women out there that try to, they want their guy to be this entity of their fantasy realm of how they are. But if they had that guy, you know what? They treat him like a doormat. They would try to use their sexual prowess to continue manipulating him, bending what they want, and then they would lose respect for their man. When they lose respect for their man that way, you know what? What's going to happen is that sexual attention, the attraction, the respect for one another, it's going to die. It's going to, it's going to get killed. So, your fantasy, I want the man to, on his hands and knees and kissing my butt and giving me whatever I want. Talking to women in my office, maybe personal life, and also, students, whatever, in the general public, a woman, they want a man to stick their ground. A lot of women want to be challenged by their man, but when that happens, it's funny how that happens. I want this. I want him to be able to put me in my place, but when it happens, there's a way to do it respectfully, right? And with compassion. But when it happens, all of a sudden the women accuse the man of being a jerk, being cold, being heartless, being a dick, being all this stuff. You don't care about me. It's all about you. But they don't realize maybe that's what they want in the first place, because if they were the frickin' doormat, their passion, their attraction for their man, it's gonna frickin' die, okay? So, I want to hear your comments coming up back. I want to know make sure the stream, the video stream, the live streaming is going smooth and that it's going okay. So you can hear me, everything's going smooth. I know Cynthia has mentioned a couple times that is going on. So I want to hear some feedback. Don't go anywhere. I am going to take a little break. This is the Art of Relationships radio show. Make sure you check out my website, theartofrelationships.org. Okay? And also check my book, Love's Essence, the relationship guide that's available on Amazon. And I'm going to be back in about 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere, people. I'd love to hear your feedback, your questions you have on the stream. Make sure the video stream is going smooth and it's operating okay? Be back in a few moments, people. Thank you. Don't go anywhere.
On the dirt floor, in her formal wear, and with one look, I swear she kills me. She's loud as hell, an embarrassment, one crazy bitch, but she's lovely. And she's addictive when it gets in, the one from my dreams in the morning. And she's vindictive. She makes me wish that girls like this came with warning. And we drive each other absolutely insane. But it would be a crime for us to stay away. So I say, can I have this dance? Romance and spiteful connection. Take my hand and we can pretend that there will never be any problem. Cause when I look into your eyes, I forget them. And she spins into the light and protect them. Pretend that everything's fine and correct them. Oh, can I have this dance? She's a total rush, but she's such a wreck. She just can't keep quiet about me. She's in love with the drama, but this way I don't have to pay for reality TV. She sleeps around, but hey, who doesn't? It's just better for when we're together. She likes to herself, and when she says it, we won't stay in love forever. We drive each other absolutely insane. But it would be a crime for us to stay away. See what's sick of me. I have this taste for romance and spiteful connection. When you take my hand and we can pretend that there will never be any problems. When I look into your eyes, I forget them. She spins into the light and forget them. Pretend that everything's fine and correct them. Oh, can I have this dance? Whoa, you know, you got me going so. So what's sick of me? Can I have this dance? Is there room for romance and a spiteful little connection? When you take my hand and we can pretend. So what's sick of me? Can I have this dance? Is there room for romance and a spiteful little connection? When you take my hand and therapy, pretend that there was never ever be any problem. 'Cause when I look at you, I can't get you. When she spends it in the body, pretend that everything's all over. Oh, did I understand?
Hey people, we are back live. This is the Art of Relationships radio show, and we're coming to you live from, or I'm coming to you live from Detroit. Been some complaints about the stream being really slow, and I wish I knew what the heck was going on. Been having tech issues on and off for a little bit now, the last couple of weeks with Facebook Live, and hopefully things will get remedied real quick, people. This is the Art of Relationships radio show. I'm Detroit's love guru, Greg Dazinski, licensed professional counselor, relationship, and sex specialist. Okay. Check out my website, theartofrelationships.org, and you can check my my book that will help you revitalize your relationship, and also not only for couples out there, it's for singles out there to maybe look at different elements about yourself and maybe what you want in a relationship down the road, maybe some do's, some don'ts. So I try to make it for single people and for those married and relationships, those elements all encompassing, okay? So that is Love's Essence, the relationship guide. It's available ebook/Kindle version and also paperback on Amazon.com. Okay, now, talked about, the fantasy realm. I read a long version, sort of edited a little bit as we went along, about women's gender issues, about the fantasy elements, and about, what is going on, what is going on as far as your expectations of a man. And, women are scared to death of a free, independent man. They want that. They're attracted to him. But if they can't mold them, they can't change them, they can't bend them to their own, maybe their own desires and how they want, you know what? They get ticked. They start name calling. They start bashing them, pushing them further away. But then the other aspect about that, if they do bend him and he becomes maybe their puppet and tells them what they want to hear all the time and kisses their booty all the time, you know what? The women are going to lose respect for that because he's not being a man. He's a doormat. So it's funny how women's reality, versus the fantasy sort of clash each other. What you want, what you don't want. And if you can accept that the man loves you because of you, right? Not because you want to change him, because you allow him and accept him to be who he is. Now, I'm not talking about men being jerks, being a-holes. Not at all. I'm allowing you, I want you to look at, what's it going to take for you to accept him for who he is, and also that he loves you for who you are, okay? It's a big, big, big challenge for a lot of women out there. They have the, like the author mentioned on, the little reading I did was, the Disneyland fantasy version, the Prince Charming, the all these elements that, Snow White, and, the elements that we grow up with and the fantasies that, and the fairy tales, they're not real. They're not real. And can you accept your man for who he is? Again, I want him to evolve to be a better man for you, just like I want you to evolve to be a better woman for him. But that doesn't mean, shaking the reality and staying in the fantasy realm. And it also doesn't mean, they can't grow and evolve to be that person, but also holding on to their own identity, their own individuality. There is I can't remember, Venn diagram or whatever, where, where you have circles like this, where right side is, say, the man's side, the left side's the woman's side, and in the center is the relationship side. It creates, when you maintain your own individuality and you allow your man to be a man, right? It creates the sexual tension. It creates the mutual respect for one another, and you are going to have a lot more fulfilling satisfying relationship, okay? I can guarantee it. That doesn't mean you take each other for granted. Big difference. When you start taking each other for granted, you know what? That's what a man should do. He should provide, and I don't have to appreciate that because that's what a man should do. You know what? You're going to run into problems. You need to make each other feel appreciated. Big time. If you don't make each other feel appreciated, you know what? You're going to have a huge disconnect in your relationship. Sex is going to decline. Talking, communicating is going to drop off. And you're wondering what the heck is going on. And you both are afraid to bring up what the real issues are. Because let's face it, you lose, maybe the man is afraid of conflict. They're afraid to bring it up because, oh my God, you're going to cut him off sexually. You're going to belittle him, degrade him. He needs to step up and be the man, stand on his own 2 feet and say, you know what? I don't feel appreciated. I don't feel accepted by you. And you know what? I want to be. And if it doesn't happen, you know what? We got real issues going on. And the woman, I want her to be able to hear that and be able to listen. Again, I'm not gender bashing the women. I'm looking at helping the women to understand their man. But on the same token, I want the man to understand and accept the woman as well, okay? This cuts across not only in heterosexual relationships, it cuts across in, lesbian and gay relationships as well. That mutual respect and allowing them to be that person that you were attracted to, that drove you and built that sexual tension that you had at the beginning. That gets killed off because they tend to bend and meander, and you sort of want them to be the person you want, but when it happens, you think they're a puppet, and it kills everything, okay? So accept that person for who they are, and you go from there. Work on that. Work on that on a daily basis, and be a little more flexible. Be a little more understanding about what drives the sexual tensions and what drives the acceptance and the respect in a relationship, because what you think is going on or what you think, right? Huge difference between reality versus fantasy. You want the strong man, you want the independent man as in your fantasy, right? But when reality hits, ladies, it drives you nuts. It ticks you off because you want to change him and he's not allowing you to change, okay? So, it's a big deal. And Rachel, you mentioned right below, it things that boil us down to fear of abandonment, perhaps. I agree for women. Women want to be accepted. They want to be validated for their